Hey everyone, so I'm going to try to make this a quick tutorial on how to go about doing 2.5, the photoshopping. I will give as much detail as possible and write notes as necessary. So let's begin. So starting off, a lot of you may be in your 3D view, parallel perspective. It depends on what you've been working on throughout the project. But for this last part, we're going to change it to perspective. So once you've done that, we are now going to shift our eye level. So we're going to use the pan tool. That hand, the pan is the hand. You can also achieve this by right-clicking and holding shift to pan. To orbit, you would just right-click. So we want to create a sort of eye level view of our model. So from here, we're going to do two things. We're going to first go to File and Properties and go to the Render tab. We want to maximize the size of our drawing. So this custom 16:9 ratio. Change the DPI to 150 and then change the quality to final quality. So we want this to be the final rendering, very clean, crisp, and precise. There are other things you can play around with sun direction, lighting, different ways to showcase your model. So if I turn on sun, you'll see the sun in the model. If I turn it off, it won't be there. You can also have a transparent background, that way it's easier to trim. So we're going to keep these current settings and see how it turns out without changing anything else. I just turned on the sun and I made it transparent. Okay, and then from here we press OK, and we're going to go to render, and we're going to render preview. So it's going to show us what our rendering looks like. For a preview, it might be pixelated because it's just showing us what it currently looks like. But that's what our model currently looks like. So it's very dark for certain areas, which kind of goes into the idea of how shade and shadow works for this model. Smaller openings, bigger openings, deeper openings. You'll have a darker casted shadow as opposed to ones that are shallower. So if you are content with this, you will then go back and render the actual one. Alrighty, from here, we're gonna save. We're gonna save it to our folder, whichever folder you want to save it to. So this is where I'm gonna save mine. Part 2.5, part 2.5. Or in a city, you know. It's more complex. It'll probably be a lot harder to place it in the city. So then it would probably be easier for me to do, let me type in background. Tool size large, and I'm going to place mine you want to make sure that the image is large, because the smaller it is, when you stretch it, it will be pixelated. And ideally, that's what you want to avoid. So here in our layers, right now the park is sitting on top of our building, and we want to change that. We want to change that so that now when we place our building, it has a more foreground view. So now we can go ahead and place our building. So right now you can see the cityscape in the background. This gives our building more of a smaller scale, and to emphasize that scale, you can always edit the layer. So to do that, you would do Control T, which is transform, and you can update the scale. Obviously, you don't want to update it too much, or you'll start getting these pixelated views. So you want to ensure that your scale works with the idea of it being a building of some sort. It can be a tall building, a house, a tower, or it can be an outhouse. However, you want to make sure that you start giving it that scale, and then you start giving it proper context. So right now it's sitting here, and I want to start giving it more context, putting reality into my image, making it look less of me dropping a box on a background and more of a well-developed image. So now we will start looking for people, entourage, trees. So you have a person in, you can update how they're looking, where they are, and update the scale. And the scale helps sets the tone for your building. So if he's next to the building, you don't want him to be at tall, because you can see people in the background. So you want them to be bigger than them by perspective, but smaller than your building. And it starts showing the scale of that building. There's different things. You just start playing around with it, and you start to create a narrative that then you can